What up, everybody? It's your boy Kentario, and I'm back again for another episode of Crime and Comic Books. And today we are looking to talk about WandaVision. Now, you might be asking, why did he wait so long to talk about WandaVision? Well, one, of course, I'm a working guy, so I don't have a lot of time to just sit and record. But at the same time, I thought it would be wiser to allow the series to finish so that we can talk about it in whole. And then, of course, discuss, the Christian perspective as well. Just be prepared that you're going to, one, see this video in full. Two, you're going to see this video in part. I'm going to start with the parts first. Then I will promote the entirety of the video. See, now, for a lot of you that heard all that, they're just like, well, a lot of that was not in WandaVision. Was not in the MCU at all. Agreed. I 100% agree with you. Comic book fans, you already know that stuff wasn't in there whatsoever, right? Like, the most we get is the altered reality that she created inside of the dome to be the perfect life for her based off of her childhood to reflect that. So there's a lot of frustration with it not reflecting from the comic book. But the thing about it is, and this is where, as I shift into part two for what I'm looking to do, I want to talk about my theories. I want to give my theories before I give the actual story of the TV show. And the reason I say that is because with my theories, there was a lot of letdowns, but I'm not mad at how the story progressed anyway, because it was still great. So one of my original theories, just to take it back a bit, was we already knew that Disney was buying out Fox, right? And in a last-ditch effort, two movies were coming out as far as mutants go, and it was going to be the Dark Phoenix movie and the new Mutants movie. So with both of those movies about to come out, it was like, this is their last hoorah for Fox, right? Now the thing is, in the comics, you have one of the moments where when Dark Phoenix rises, she leads to the destruction of one of the realities. So to simplify that, Phoenix is a divine entity, a deity, that exists across the entirety of the multiverse. There's only one Phoenix for the entire multiverse. There's not multiple different versions of the Phoenix. So here's where I was tripping, right? Because if their last one's going to be Dark Phoenix, then they can have Dark Phoenix end that universe in that movie, and in her ending that universe in that movie, that will definitely allow for them to segue into the mutants being able to effectively come into the MCU from that standpoint. We've destroyed one reality, bringing them into this reality, because the MCU is already playing on there being a multiverse. That's already one of the biggest things that drew people into the MCU. That being said, with the way that WandaVision played out, regardless of it meeting theories or not or playing by comic book, it's an alternate reality. So they're permitted to play with and manipulate the timeline the way that they wish and the way that they did it, right? They have a lot of leeway of playroom. So that's where there's minimal frustration with how the story went. But for me, them having done that would have been a great way to segue into WandaVision. Now, that being said, we got into where she's created this town, and with this town, she has herself, she has Vision, they're married, she's making everything kind of play off of the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. But where I kind of started getting more theories was, you see where Wanda's actually the one able, and when we're talking the reality, she's able to control that at a high level, manipulating the people and their memories, bringing them out of it to remember everything, and taking them back into those memories. You kind of see a lot of that. So when she had her kids, one of the things I started to theorize about was, you see where her son Wiccan, other than herself and Vision, Wiccan could interact with the audience. So what does that tell you? That tells you that Wiccan has some level of reality warping power. So that's what I thought was rather significant. So one, we will end up seeing Wiccan and Speed once again. For those that have seen WandaVision, we can expect to see them again, even though they're currently just an illusion for what took place in WandaVision. So that's one of my miniature theories, is I expect that he's going to come back later. He has reality warping powers as well. Now, one of the other things that I am expecting to come out of this is where they brought in Evan Peters, the Quicksilver from the other X-Men universe. Now, here's where that's significant, because with my original theory of the Dark Phoenix destroying one universe, if Wanda taps into that other universe, she could have possibly brought the X-Men in from that universe to this universe. So that's some of the stuff that with watching the show that affected and manipulated some of my own personal theories. Now, my last big humongous theory piece is this. So with Wanda having shown up, right, and Quicksilver, those are the only two quote-unquote mutants that are involved in the entirety of the MCU that we know of. So with them two being there, it's like, okay, so what happened with the X-Men this entire time? Like, that was a question I continued to ask myself. But here's what I kind of drew on. I drew on how what she can do is manipulate realities, right, and memories. So she could have made it to where no one remembers the X-Men. No one remembers any mutants. So post this moment, she could have already had her no more mutants moment. So everyone in this moment does not remember mutants even exist. So the X-Men are living off somewhere. Now this ties into House of X. And House of X, right? You got to go read the comic book, I'm telling you, so you can get this picture. House of M and then read House of X. House of X, simply put, is the mutants decide. This is bringing Professor X back. This has Magneto and Professor X on one accord, which you don't see a lot of. They're normally butting heads a lot of times because of their views, but they finally come to an agreement. Even Apocalypse comes in agreement, and they go to live on their own island away from everybody else, and they say, we are our own nation now, we are our own people, we want nothing to do with you and your business, even going as far as making their own product that the world would want, because it's something that would help and heal people that got sick or anything like that. They would need to come to the mutants for this product, but otherwise, we want nothing to do with any of you. No Avengers, no Spider-Man, no alien races, no big businesses or other nations. We're not going to war. You know how powerful we are. Stay away. That's it. They cut themselves off. And if that's part of what they're using now, one, to say she's done the no more mutants. Everyone lost their memories of mutants. Two, she's helping the mutants by losing her memory of that because of how dark that past was. So she's shut herself off from that. So that's where we don't see the mutants. That's where no one's talking about the mutants or knows of mutants, is because they've been wiped from memory thanks to Wanda. So I think that would be a great way for them to tie those two together. So that's been my biggest thing. I feel as though as they continue to tap into the mind and the memories of Wanda, that they can do that. They can bring those memories back. Or they're otherwise just going to go into a multiversal gameplay and say, hey, we're bringing the X-Men from another universe. So it can go one of two ways. But right now, none of what I'm theorizing is taking place. So when I was watching the show, I meant to tell you guys this. As I was watching the show, there was one moment when the beekeeper was coming out the sewer. I think it was like episode 3, and all you could see was like a shadowed figure of his face, and I thought I saw white hair and an old man. So what I was thinking was, it's Magneto is right there, he's coming in the sewer, they're trying to get to Wanda. Like, that's where my mind went. I didn't think nothing about the Team Sword. None of them. I didn't think any of them were trying to get in there to get her attention. I thought it was Professor X coming and trying to help. That's when they brought in Evan Peters. That's when I was also thinking, hey, it's the X-Men trying to bring her out of this funk, right? So, and when he was trying to give a perspective of their childhood, Wanda said, well, I don't remember it that way. When they had that conversation, he was giving an alternate reality perspective for their childhood where she doesn't remember it that way. So there's so many pieces that just has you teased. But again, that's not what we got, right? We didn't get anything that we theorized. But here is what we got. As I've already said, with Wanda's heartbreak, she goes into a rather simple, quiet town, and she builds a dome over this town, warping the reality of this entire town, the memories of all of these people, and in her doing so, she's made the perfect world for her and Vision. In this moment, you also do, yes, have Vision. But last we knew, Vision's body was destroyed. So in this Wanda and Vision, Wanda and Vishon, by the way, I love the Vishon meme. The Vishon meme is truly hilarious, man. Like, I love it. They got the dude looking swagged out. Rwanda and Vishon. I think they should just stick with the Vishon. But anyway, so we got Wanda and Vision, but whew, there's so much depth to it. what you see, one is you have Wanda making them experience the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, up to the early 2000s, as far as how their family shows and sitcoms went from those time periods. And what she's reflecting to is, just to give WandaVision spoilers, is she's reflecting to her childhood for the types of shows she watched or happier times in her life. That's what she's referring to when she's referring to these sitcoms. I want my life happy and simple like this. I want to get back to that simple place in my life. But here are a couple things that are revealed in this moment. One, the vision that's here is simply a conjuring. This is not his body. This is not his memories per se. These are her memories of him that she's manifested to exist of its own. So with her manifesting them as well as manifesting the children, the three things that don't truly exist in these realities, this is causing some warfare between her and them, because she's giving them their own existence in a sense, to where they're able to combat her, disagree with her, think their own way. So with that happening, that's in its own sense is helping her work through her mental issues in this moment. So it's working twice as hard. It's doing a great job of doing that, by the way, because we get to a place even where Vision is seeing everything wrong with this alternated reality. With Vision being upset with it, he's like, Wanda, what did you do? Like, that's what he's like, Wanda, what did you do? I didn't do anything. I'm going to figure this out. You can't control me. Like, that was my favorite moment. I think it was like episode 5. He's like, you can't control me like you do them, Wanda. I thought that was hilariously great. It was so powerful. I think that kind of even speaks to the significance of what a husband should be to a woman. It's probably what she manifested with Vision as, although Vision is a part of what she created. What she envisions for that perfect husband, the type of husband that I need, is someone that isn't being manipulated by his wife or by his queen or even by his family, but is someone that is going to challenge them, not in a disrespectful way, but for their betterment. So he, in this moment, is helping her to heal mentally. Now, two things that we learn is, one, there's a team called Sword. And the Sword is being manipulated by their current director at this moment, not to try and simply save the people, save Wanda, we got to figure out what's going on, but they're simply looking to kill Wanda. That little bit, as a lot of fans are saying, is tying into the discriminatory nature that the mutants deal with, because he simply wants to destroy her, where she's done so much good for them with Infinity War and with even against the battle against Ultron, with Infinity War, with Endgame. She's done so much to contribute to the success of their fights of the Avengers and the heroes. Where is the respect? There's something wrong. So that's where we get Monica Rambeau, who sees that there's something wrong. She needs help. She doesn't need to just be killed off because she's different. And that's very powerful from her perspective. So with Monica Rambeau going in to help, as well as we got Jimmy Woo, which is one of everyone's fan favorites right now out of WandaVision, is Jimmy Woo. Like, everyone wants him to get his own sitcom, his own show too. I think he should get his own show. I think that would be amazing. It would also almost be like a perspective of the fans on what's happening in the story. So I think that would be great. It's like our perspective on how we can help if we were ever involved in a high level situation like that, right? I think that's just really cool. Just me thinking out loud. But anyway, so Monica's working to save her, Vision's working to save her, Monica's working to stop Sword, while Vision's looking to stop Wanda. So it's kind of like, it's twofold and very deep. But we come to find out that one of the people that we thought Wanda was manipulating was actually being manipulated by this person. And this person being, it's been Agatha all along. So in fact, we find that instead of Wanda being the one manipulating this person, we find out that this person has been manipulating Wanda. And it's been Agatha Harkness. Now, here's where this is significant, and I have my theories about that too, but I'm just going to stick to the script on this one. Now, Agatha Harkness is a witch. Agatha Harkness knows of the power of Wanda, aka the Scarlet Witch, which is what Agatha reveals in this moment, is that you are the fabled Scarlet Witch. You are the one that's told in legend. You are the most dangerous thing in the universe. We need to help you figure out how to control your power versus being the one to destroy everything. Now, it gets a weird perspective here with Agatha, because you see where she's been manipulating Wanda, but she's manipulating Wanda to help Wanda so that Wanda doesn't destroy everything. So she's trying to take the power of Wanda so that Wanda, can be normal or be in control. So she's trying to do good by doing the wrong thing. So we're getting that Thanos effect. I'm trying to do the right thing by going about it the wrong way. And so basically Agatha gets defeated. Now, one of the small things I thought about with Agatha doing that is, so in the history of Agatha Harkness was one that when Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four and Susan Storm had a child, his name was Franklin Richards. He has, guess what? Reality warping power. And him having reality warping power, they brought him to her to be raised and taken care of because of how strong and mystical experience that Agatha has. So that same situation is being replicated or reflected here, being that we have Scarlet Witch performing reality warping powers, and Agatha's doing what she can to help her deal with and control these powers. One, by taking her through her childhood to really deal with her past, but and two, trying to absorb that power so that she's not continually doing what she's doing in this moment, or even worse, going out of control. But she defeats Agatha, she breaks the reality that she had caused, freeing everyone, and sadly we get this revelation of what really happened too with Wanda, was that Wanda, one, got to this point where she accepted that Vision was truly gone. Vision had even saved a place for them in this town that she had warped, where they were going to build their own home and actually live their life there. But because Vision's gone, he can't be there with her. So once she gets to the land where they were going to have their home, that's where she starts the alternate reality. So now she's letting them go, and she leaves. In her leaving, she takes this magic book that Agatha had to go through and better learn and understand about the Scarlet Witch, who she's fabled to be. Now, of course, with it ending that way, this really truly sets up the stage for them to bring in Doctor Strange, so that, because Doctor Strange, of course, being the Sorcerer Supreme, he's the one that's going to come and either stop Wanda or be working with Wanda to fix the realities that are starting to be broken. That's the suspicion there. We currently are only theorizing because we don't currently have a trailer. So with the way that this is all playing out, the sky is the limit as to what can happen. How are they going to bring in the X-Men now? What is Wanda going to do that's going to cause more alternate realities? Is she more magical or is she more mutant? What perspective are they giving us? But I thank you all for tuning in with me on this journey. I hope you all have yourselves a blessed evening. Peace.